All right, now we should have some sound. There's always something going on, isn't there? Hello, everyone, and once again, welcome. So I think we are live in a Technicolor now. So for some reason, it defaulted back to default. I have no idea why. There it is, and I hear myself, much to my own chagrin, and we are good. So welcome, Kaz. Welcome, Grand. Good to see you both, as always. Stalwarts in the chat. So yes, we should be good now. So let me wash down the old trail dust from the gullet. And there we go. All right, I'm still having my respiratory issues, whatever they may be. So I guess it's my cross to bear for the foreseeable future. So hopefully the sound is not too bad or annoying. When it gets really bad, I will try to remember to hit the mute button. So let me turn that up just a hair. And now I think we are excellently poised for an actual stream. Turn up just a little bit more. It's still in the green, so all right. I hear you talking in Chinese. Are you doing the Chinese accent again, you hard kidder? Well, you know, I can't help myself, even though that would get me canceled very, very quickly today. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. In fact, YouTube would probably just shut me down completely if I even did anything remotely close to that. Let's not tempt fate, shall we? So, yeah. But yeah, another weekend is upon us, and hopefully it's going to be a good one for everybody involved. I know, Kaz, you got baseball to watch, and Grand, you got football to watch, so you both got something to look forward to there, right? So, good on you guys. Mr. Miller, good to see you. Good bill, sir. And for those inquiring minds who want to know, I want to know. I'm drinking cherry soda tonight, so a little bit of pinky-raising goodness here in my cup. This is where I get the money for all my hobbies. Is I don't consume alcohol, so maybe that's what it is. I thought the DNA behind you was a bra for when you started the strip club. Well, I had no reason to wear a bra. People wanted to see my massive chest, so that was the main draw. But I actually found the genetic, it's actually blue and green. You can't see it in the picture. But it's actually the helix. And I found it the same day I found the Jesus Saves up there. It just happened to pop into my thing. So must have been Kismet or something. I don't know. But yeah, so I figured I'd be remiss not to get a little decoration that celebrates Genome Presents, even though that wasn't how it was created. Let's see. Work was good. We didn't have a class this week. We did a meeting. And we have lots more hits, and work is pouring in. So, yeah, expect to see some busy me. It probably won't be next week, but the week after, I think I will be gone for 5 straight days. And so I don't know if I'll be doing the Friday show that night. Depends what time I get back. So be prepared for possibly being without me in a week or a few weeks. So, and, you know, one never knows what happens from week to week. But, work was great. Church was great. I was supposed to go preach the devotional last night at one of the nursing homes that we have a ministry at, and unfortunately they are locked down. They had some cases of the unspecified virus of unknown origin, I believe it's sometimes referred to, so we were not allowed to go and do it, so message was not heard. So kind of a bummer, but hopefully they'll be there next time. And I am just dandy. I am blessed beyond measure, and just feel lucky to be here. You know, I just feel lucky to be able to share my thoughts with you guys and do it on a regular basis and not worry about a lot of things that, you know, that other people might worry about. So, let's see. No. Didn't you work at a strip club in the 90s, even as a bartender, security or other? Probably not security. I do not have a good temper for security. I'd probably get like arrested pretty quickly for physical altercations. I'm much better than I used to be. Let's just say that. I has a bit of a temper in the olden days, and it's still there, still resides there. But I'm much better at controlling it now. I'm feeling much better now, as Gomez would say, right? Men Seeking Wisdom is still there. It never really went anywhere. Of course, I haven't uploaded much anymore, but almost no one ever watches this stuff anyway, so I get more hits on the Facebook when I upload daily over there, so I mostly just stick to that. One day I'll get Froggy and upload all the other books that I've read up there, or done recordings of, excuse me. But in the meantime, it was originally built as a channel with 4 guys who were contributing, so with 3 down, it's a little difficult. So the devil blocked your message. Welcome to my life. Just kidding. Actually, God and devil both block things I want to do. Yeah, God will always block you from things that you shouldn't do, right? But sometimes, and people don't get this. Like, we can't anthropomorphize God. So, while generally he would do things that are good for us, if we were to be an example for others, or a point he was trying to make, sometimes life could get bad for us too, right? We're his tools to use as he wishes. So, there's several stories of that in the Bible, Job being the most obvious example of a man who had to suffer to teach everyone who came after a lesson, right? He didn't do anything wrong or do anything to deserve all the pain and suffering and the heartache he went through, but, to this day, we're still reading about him and still learning lessons from it. So I'm still alive too, amazingly. Citing example of you. Sorry, that stupid heart's right in the way. Let me see if I have it over here. Where you got really livid. What did you do? Well, I can name 2 examples. One of them was in basic training. Both of those are, two different instances in the military. Both of them basic training. I think a lot of that was just brought on because I do not do well in groups constantly. I have no privacy at all, and after a couple months of that, 3-4 months of that, it gets old. So I remember one time, what was the guy doing? I can't remember what he was doing. I was sitting in formation. We were underneath the barracks in the big closet or breezeway down there, and sitting in formation, standing there for who knows how long. What was the guy doing? I can't remember what he was doing. He was clucking or something like that. It was being really annoying, and I said, man, can you just knock that off? And he did it again, man. I got right up in his face, and one of the drill sergeants come running over, and I got in his face. Because back then I used to roll. I was a submission wrestler. I loved, I don't know, I fight, with rules and in rings, you know what I mean? It's I didn't mind fighting, and I was I had it. It's and if you want to bow it to me, you're, I'll embarrass you in front of everybody else if I have to. But he talked me down, and he was screaming. And the other drill sergeant came running over, and I got smoked for a while. But whatever, it all blew over. But so that was one of the worst blow-ups I had. And another one was very close. We were getting ready. We were doing I think rehearsals for our graduation parade, right? And so we're all standing in formation one day. Can't remember his name. I think I know who it was, but I wouldn't use his name anyway. But anyway, we're standing in close formation. We're just standing there at attention, rigidly, and he sneezes. And when this guy sneezed, he didn't face down. He just blew, I don't know what was in his nose, but it went everywhere, all the back of my head, on my neck. It was 100 degrees outside. It was disgusting. And I just turned right around, man. I screamed at this guy. I'm what are you... I probably used some colorful language back then. And the funny is none of our instructors even, saw me. I don't think I, screamed, loud, just, you ever do, a reserve scream? What are you doing? Man? And he got this look in his eyes, I was going to rip his throat out, man. Oh, I was pissed. You get over it. I'm sure he didn't mean to. He had enough brains to point his head down or into his shoulder at least, But sometimes people don't move it all too literally, But yeah, so there's a couple of examples for you. I remember another one that I was doing. This is back in Florida. I was probably 20 years old, and I'm driving, just driving down the road. And the road I'm driving off is a kind of a side road, and it's, I think, 30 miles per hour, 35. And this lady gets up on my car, man, and she starts tailgating. And I give her a few brake checks. I gave her one pretty healthy one. Right back on me again, man. And I had it at that point. I had a big gulp in my car, and I was drinking on it. It was down to almost nothing but ice. So next time she got right up on me, I just stuck it out the window and just tossed it right in the air, all the ice it hit right on her windshield and splattered. And she got off me at that point because I was about to just hit the brakes hard and just let it ram into the back of me. But yeah, so there you go. You put the boogers on your back. Uncool. Oh, it was so uncool. I was so mad. And it's dude, just... anyway. I Can See You in the Movie Stripes. I haven't seen that since the 80s, probably. Then he asked for your cap to use your clean his nose. He thought it was funny. No, not so funny. Yeah, he wouldn't be doing that at that point. He probably had to change some underwear from the look in his eyes. And look, I'm no big beastly specimen or nothing like that, but people can tell when you're mad, at least with me. So get the crazy eyes, my mom used to say. But yeah, so there's a couple of instances. Now he definitely wouldn't have done it after I was in Iraq for a while, because I was jacked over there, so I was big. But I was more normal proportions back then. But for any time I've ever lost my temper, I've never hurt anybody. I've been in a few scuffles, but I mean, nothing major. No one really got hurt. So, I guess it's all worked out. And now this is not me anymore, so. Though sometimes people can really tempt you. So, there are some stories for you. But, yeah, so. Good times. Oh, that idiot. Now you got me thinking about him. Sneezing on me. I think if it's the same guy I'm thinking about, he was the same guy who couldn't throw a grenade. Literally, I felt bad. He kind of threw like this. I don't think he'd ever thrown anything in his entire life, And they wouldn't let him with a live grenade. They wouldn't let him get out on the range because he just couldn't be trusted, even with the dummies. So they made this guy carry a dummy grenade with him basically the entire time we were in basic. And anytime we had free time, he had to get out there and practice throwing. And he never did get it down like he could throw it more than 5-10 feet from him. I've never seen anything like it. When are you going to show a picture of your favorite version of the Punisher with the new logo, sir? Oh, is that with his demon on his chest? Isn't that funny, right? So he's probably like a kinder, gentler Frank Castle, yet he has a demon plastered on his chest or something, right? I think there's a lot of things you can expect from this channel, and that probably wouldn't be one of them. So let me actually get this up a little bit low. There we go. But yeah, I'm sure he's been bastardized like every other character in comics. So I have no interest. But I could, I guess. You could take iconic shots, like this, and replace them, I guess, with newer art styles and sensitivity training, but I'm old school, I guess. Sorry, there we go. But yeah, so there it is, new logo and everything. I'm sure the comic is flying off the shelves. Everything is okay. The Ministry of Plenty says that comic book sales are fine. In fact, they're better than ever. Don't mind us, considering that 3/4 of comic sales are probably libraries at this point. School libraries, no less, buying some of these garbage omnis and what are they called? Youth graphic novels or youth novels, whatever they're called. So, and that's guaranteed government money that just gets sent, and no one reads them there in the library either, but they are ordered. So there you go. Kind of like book sales. I tell this to anyone who'll listen, like, book sales, man, what a joke. That's like the most legalized bribery there is in the world. So you take some celebrity or ex-president or whatever, and they start just churning out books. No one's reading these things. And and that's why you find all of these in like dollar bins within like 6 months. But what it is, they get a big sign-on bonus, which someone's keeping these companies open, right, to pay these sign. But it's legalized bribery. I mean, and they're not even writing their own books. These are all ghost-written. So anyway, that's another road we don't need to get down. It's just the vast majority of comic sales are actually or manga. I hear that manga is going gangbusters. So pretty bad when like Japanese books are actually just crushing American books in all their glory when you have such a rich history and tapestry and never-ending money that could come in, If you had an inkling of integrity and if you had a modicum of talent. And those two things are not mutually exclusive, but they are sadly bereft in the modern comics industry. So, hence, I give them absolutely no money. Oh well, I will cry myself to sleep. If ever I'm in need of reading a comic, I have 80 years of decent comics to go read. Mr. Kenneth Bird, welcome Glad you can make it, as always. Always counted on to stop by. Appreciate it. I had road rage in the late 90s. A guy in a white work van. We kept cutting each other off. He motioned to me to pull over. I did. He got out with a knife, and I always kept my crowbar close. Yeah, there's a bit of a disparity in weaponry there. You always got to up your game, right? Guess he saw that I was going to control the distance. He got back in his ride. Dave, I would have really laid it into him. To this day, I wanted to put that guy down. I kept the crowbar under the seat. He was a fat white guy. I had just gotten out of the service. Yeah, I mean, some people, they don't think things through too well. And, yeah. And then you have, like, every defense you could ever want. I mean, the guy's got a knife. He pulled it out right there. So what do you expect? I had a crowbar in the car for auto repair purposes. When I was overseas, I had a few road incidents with the locals protesting, so that triggered me. They get awful animated in some other countries, that's for sure. So, but yeah, it's I'm in a better place now. I don't let the little things bother me nearly as much, and if they do, they just kind of go away quickly. I remind myself to be forgiving, and then I just move on. It's better for me health-wise because I don't think about them then anymore. I had an incident on Marketplace like 6 months ago or something, just selling a guitar. Who'd think you could get, like, almost like want to come to blows with somebody, like in a a 3 chat conversation. But some people just really want to push buttons, So I'm like, you know what, go find something else to do. I'm done talking to you at this time. So, oh well. My wife used to refuse to go shopping with me because I would get, like, I'm very blunt with people sometimes, especially when they're not exercising any social cognizance, if you will, and especially in busy places. So, like, it's not a big deal up here, but, like, because they're very sparsely, not staffed, but they're very sparsely, like, just lobbied by people shopping, like Walmarts and places like that. But back in Orlando, those things are just packed to the gills with people, and those are not the best circumstances for me. I do not like big crowds of people, and it just makes me aggressive and distrustful and wary. But I let people know, like people who park in the fire lane and block the door all the time, in front of grocery stores. One of my favorite things to do is when they were parked up there and just sitting there, like in front of the grocery store or whatever, because they're too lazy. The person inside is probably too lazy to walk. I would go right up to the driver's window and just stare at them. I'd be like 3 feet away and just looking at them. Some people would get guilty. They would get the guilt because they know. And then they just pull off. And sometimes if I was in a hurry, I'd go up and I would stare at them through the window. And then I would start taking left steps. And then, like, do a square walk right around their vehicle. Just so they know I had to walk around because they were, just very self-absorbed. So things like that. People who leave their cart right in the middle of an aisle. I would get in front of their cart and just stand there and look at them until they would move. Sometimes I'd ram their cart with my cart. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you here in the middle of the aisle. And I would say things like that, very passive-aggressive, David, takes a lot to get me, I'm guessing that's me, that angry. Annoyed is one thing, that is no biggie. I don't think of violence, so one has to push the right buttons. Yeah, that's me too. Like, I'm a happy, jovial kind of guy. It takes usually something to actually get me angry. I can get perturbed quite easily, but angry is a different story, and I like to think that I have a better handle on it now than I used to. I mean, youth. Blood always runs hot, but anyway, shopping can be quite the exercise with me. Now, luckily, you can online shop so much that it's not nearly as much as a problem as it used to be. So a lot of it just gets delivered to our door. We utilize a lot of delivery services. Because personally, I find it repulsive to go shopping. I hate grocery shopping. Like, once a month we'll go, or sometimes I'll run up to Aldi and grab a few things, but usually I just got a lot of goods and just cook throughout the month. I'd hate going to stores for, like, food and stuff. It just annoys me. Dave, the really bad part is if that guy had a gun, I had a 40, a 40 caliber pistol with me too. Sometimes it's a bad thing to carry, weaponry, right? Yeah, you're done with the old Browning, but because sometimes rationality goes out the window when in the heat of the moment, and who wants to spend their life in jail, over something so stupid? And you can't always claim self-defense, and so it's just best not to to be in that area. Now, I'm not really that worried about it around here because we have open carry. I mean, you don't even have to be licensed or anything. But, oh, wow, they said it'd be the Wild West here, too, and they did that. I'm like, well, every state should be open carry. But, yeah, I digress. That's another story. But if you're overseas, I always stay prepared. Why not? See, they'll try to make you feel bad for being prepared. And who wants to make you feel bad, right? The unprepared or people who don't want people who are prepared. So that's just a reinforcement to me I'm doing something right. You know what I mean? Billy D. Williams always taught me to carry Colt 45. It's funny you say that. In Instagram, I think it was yesterday, it might have been, there was a Billy D. Williams Star Wars figurine, but they photoshopped the Colt 45 billboard on the back, and it had like a little plastic beer can that goes into his kung fu grip. Oh, your back's hurting again. Well, sorry, brother. I know. I appreciate you suffering, like, just to be up this late and to tune in. It's very much appreciated, sir. And I do pray that you start feeling a little better and that your pain doesn't get too much worse, But I do appreciate your appearance as always, my good friend. So stay strong, brother. Get some good rest. Here in Arizona, it's the Wild West. However, the loopholes in the law here can go against the gunner. Yeah, it's, even in castle doctrine kind of places, it can go against you very quickly. It's almost not worth it carrying it, you know what I mean? But, oh, you're very welcome, sir. It's the least I could do for so great a viewer such as yourself. In person, I might add. So may all your acquisitions be high grades. There you go. Bill, what'd you do with your arch enemy? I haven't seen him yet. Dave, did you qualify with the pistol in service? I had Diamond Miller qualified marksman. No, we weren't allowed to touch those. We had to. In fact, we only had A1s issued. That's how old our stuff was. But yeah, no one below the rank of major in our unit was issued a pistol of any kind. The funny thing is, like the Air Force, even their like E2s and 3s were carrying friggin' M9s. It was so annoying. I wanted to carry one so bad just because it was less thing to lug around, But the let's see, it was my unit, the W, I want to say 3s and above got a sidearm, majors and above got a sidearm, and first sergeant and above, they all got sidearms. Other than that, everyone else had muskets. I remember one time I was trying to think, I probably shouldn't talk about that, but nothing wrong with it, but I better be careful talking about that sort of thing. So sometimes you had to babysit firearms, though, which was kind of interesting sometimes. You don't know where Jackson is at? That sounds like you've been talking to the police. I have no knowledge of where Mr. Roy Kirk could be, nor, to my knowledge, have I ever met him. I have never known him to be dead. Dave, I had a pistol because part of the flight crew, door gun. Yeah, you can't be carrying those big things, so. I qualified in 45, 9mm, 30 cal, 50 cal, 105 mil, and 120 mil. What? Were you an infantry unit or were you an artillery unit? You play some fun stuff. It's funny, I was talking lawyer speak. I'll show you my latest acquisition. Kind of an impulse buy. I went ahead and did it. I've been talking about it for years. I got the entire Law and Order series, and you know what? I don't think I've seen anything past season 10. But I love like the first 8 or 9 seasons so much. I've always wanted it. Ah, you're an Abrams guy. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, we had training with some of those, like the SAW and the 50 cal sometimes, but we didn't really get to use them too much. We were aviation, so. And I never got to be a door gunner, so. Frankly, I didn't mind, because I didn't want to take care of those weapons and clean them and then turn them back in. Forget that noise. And for those of you who don't know, that's some of the most miserable times in the military period is range days. And it's not just the range. The range is fun for 30 seconds when you're actually shooting at stuff. But other than that, you're sitting around all day, and then you're doing, spot check detail afterwards and cleaning the grounds. And then you're cleaning your weapon for about 3 straight hours because every time you try to turn it into weapons room, they're like, oh, there's a smudge on here. Take it back. So it's just like a big picnic. Like, if they saw you more than once, man, it was like, then they were really hard on you. So basically, you just sat around for like 3 or 4 hours out there talking with your buddies until you thought that the arms rooms guys wanted to go home. And then you just turn it in. It's like, all right, and then they would barely look at it, So, one of those little games they like to play. Another thing I don't miss. Let me check something over here. Okay, no message there. Just want to check and verify on that. Dave, I got super lucky in that I qualified with 50 cal. We had a composite boat company who used to fire from their boats. I qualified there. Yeah, it'd be cool. I love, racking a round in the chamber is always fun with both hands. And they sound really cool when they go off. But I wonder how much it costs the government every round of those that is fired. Probably $8-9 a round, I'm guessing, after it's all said and done. No brass, no ammo, drill sergeant. So. But alas. Dave, did you ever have the grenade tab under your qualified badge? I was never clear on that. I did not. They kind of stopped that when I was going through basic. I think someone had even asked about it, but they kind of stopped doing that. So they even had a bayonet badge, and none of us had the. I don't think anybody in our platoon wouldn't get one because I think the drill sergeant was making fun of it so bad. So, but I think they actually had a bayonet qualification badge. It hung like below the grenade and the marksman and all that nonsense. I never saw one the entire time I was in, but I think it was something we could have gone for if we really wanted it. After all this talk, you may add rum to your drink to take the edge off. Look, I'm 5 years sober. I'm not going to blow it now. It might be even 6 years. I don't know. It's hard to keep track. But I wouldn't have mixed it. I see what you're doing there, though. It makes sense. Old rum and coke. I always like straight liquor better than mixed. So I just drank whiskey on the rocks or something. I like cheap whiskey on the rocks. I didn't like expensive stuff. I just like Seagram 7 for the most part. I just drank 7 with a couple of cubes in it. But yeah, so there's good military times there for you. No cabs either. I didn't see really any cabs in our unit. And they're kind of a joke too, If you wore one, like, my gosh, the infantry guys be all over you, What are you doing wearing that piece of crap? Blah, 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 blah. It's no CIP or nothing, Like, okay, yes. Stay in your lane, I guess. It'll be okay. I drove for a lieutenant colonel. One of the unit's companies under his command was the 1097th Composite Boat Company. I drove for colonels and generals quite regularly in my unit because, once again, I was the lowest ranking soldier in my entire building, all 3 floors of it. I worked at Corps headquarters. And so I was technically attached to the commanding officer he was the colonel. He kind of in charge of most ops around there. So I was his personal driver for a couple of years, but I was also subbed in as general's drivers. It's an interesting duty, and like I don't want to say prestigious, but it's kind of prestigious, like because they're not going to pick out dirtbags to be drivers for these guys, right? Because you're the face of the unit at that point. So I obviously had some good rapport with some people I was driving with, and I kept my nose clean, didn't get in trouble, and so I did a lot of driving for a lot of general. In fact, I got pretty close to a 1-star, became a 2-star not long after I left, but he actually did jujitsu, and I always talked to the people who were riding with me, right, who I was driving around. I didn't just act like a robot, and so I found out he did that, and I told him, it's like, oh, I do that too, sir. And so I was one of a group of 6 people, and definitely the only enlisted guy who would go roll with him. He would have, sparring sessions. So we'd go roll for an hour, every week or two or something like that. So, I thought that was pretty cool, right? Getting to hang out with the general, and it could be good for your career. Didn't help mine, but I was kind of always wondering, it's like, maybe it'll give me a battlefield promotion, but I wasn't driving too much for the big wigs because I actually had work to do in Iraq. But now, being a driver has its pluses and minuses. Like, one of the big minuses is you're out there all freaking day. And generals especially, they just do meetings for like 12, 14 hours every single day. So you get out to wherever it is you're going, and you just sit there and guard the vehicle, and it's very boring out there. So you just sit there, all you want, so you have to talk to the other generals' drivers because you got to stay in the vicinity, But for the most part, those are pretty good assignments, and it got me out of a lot of details. They're like, well, we got clean sweep coming up, and we're gonna need, me and like 2 of your other enlisted. And it's like, nope, you can have the other 2. And the other one, he's tabbed to drive the general for the next couple of weeks. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, we see it on our list. All right, he's excused. So I got out of tons of details, and that might have been some of the reasons I was volunteered for it, because my NCOs were really cool with me, and so I think they looked out for me a little bit there. Yeah, in the 90s, the other qualifications, it didn't appear on my D214, which it should have. Oh, yeah. Like, the only ones, the badges people really wore in my section were, of course, air assault and airborne, if you wore. But just about everybody was airborne in my unit, except for me. I was a leg. But yeah, it's not a bad gig. So for those of you out there wanting to work more regular, I say regular hours, but more regular hours, maybe being a driver for the brass is maybe not for you, but if you were looking to just kind of be in a more chill position, that could be the job for you. So try it out. It was great when we had like company vehicles. And driving Humvees around sucks, but they're not very comfortable sitting in all day. But supposedly, if you qualify grenade and basic, then you're supposed to add that tab, that qualification badge, with what you qualify with the M16. Yeah, however, I really saw soldiers wearing it. I see it on pictures, senior NCOs and officers. And maybe it wasn't such a joke back in the day, but I literally never saw one. And like I said, our drill sergeant was just like, hated those things. So I think some of that rubbed off, and just no one bothered after that. I certainly didn't want it. I mean, what's the no? You throw a pineapple. I mean, it's not like, I don't know, Marksman has some meaning, but but it is what it is. Yeah, so that was fun. There's some more of my amazingly fun war stories, or entertaining war stories you hear about me driving colonels and generals around. It was funny though, like, cause I know I was an oddity because I was like an E3 when I was doing that, and every other general's driver or colonel's driver was at least an E6 or above, every one of them. So they used to kind of tease me a little bit, and fun stuff. remember the first time I did it, because you never know when you're going up talking to strangers in the military with rank, So the first time we had all dropped our officers off to go in the meetings, and we parked our vehicles, and we're just getting ready to go stand around, and I walked up to him, and I went to, parade rest or whatever. Not really parade rest. I actually just locked up, a little bit. And they're like, what are you doing? Relax. It's just us out here. So that was pretty cool. So I never had to go at ease with them again. But it was different, man. I don't know. I never had any fear of, like, brass or senior NCOs. I wouldn't talk to anybody. And I think they like that because, like, I sit there and, like, even when I was deployed, I would sit there and eat breakfast with Sergeant Major. He loved to eat breakfast with me. And we just sit there, and he'd be yelling at people from the table. I'm like, oh, gosh, don't do it again. Uniform stuff, But him, it's like, hey, Wyatt, what's going on, man? Did you see what the Saints did last night? And that was kind of funny. And but, like, all my friends were officers and senior NCOs, and just the nature of the unit I was at, Some parts of it were pretty cool. Yeah, but driving, ugh. And then I'll never forget, like, I was driving for the general for a little while, and he got a new assistant. He was a pretty fresh captain, and he had come out of artillery. And boy, he was something, man. He was a little spastic. Oh, he would just freak out, man. And he was in over his head, kind of, and like, I remember, for one thing, like, the general always wanted Cliff Bars, right? He was a health nut. Had to have Cliff Bars, so this captain would just go buy boxes of them and give them to him. He told me one day, he's like, Wyatt, man, these are getting expensive. I was like, he's not reimbursing you? Well, I'm not going to ask him for it. I was like, ask him for it. I told him, I was like, why don't you go ask him for your money? You're fine. Where do you think these are coming from? I don't know if he ever did, but I said, go ask him. It's not your job to provide him expensive health food. He makes good money. Oh man, he just looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, okay, but I helped him out a lot, man. And it was so funny because he would go in these briefings, take notes or whatever, and come out with orders or whatever, and he just start running around like a crazy man, right? And he wasn't too good, like, at memorizing things. And so we'd be reminding him of stuff, and then he'd come out, look around, obviously forgetting what he did, go right back in there, maybe take his notepad this time. I remember he was out, like, just flipping out on people outside somewhere, and one of the other general's drivers comes over and says, Wyatt, says, all right, guy, here's what you got to do, Mr. Private. Go get your captain under control. He's like, go corral him up and tell him what's what. And I didn't do it at that particular time, but I did have a talk with him a few times. He's like, he came up to me one day, and he's like, oh, man, Wyatt, I don't know. I don't know if the general likes me. I don't know if he likes what I'm doing. He says, well, what do you think? I mean, Captain asked in private, right? I'm like, I told him. I was like, look, I'm a pretty good student of people. I read people, and I watch what they like and what they don't like, and I pick up on that stuff. I was like, the general doesn't like, I don't know. I say, tell him yes or no. If you don't know, I will find out. Simple. He doesn't want you to sit there and give excuses, and it's irritating him to no end. It's like, just, you don't have to know everything, or ask for clarification. Oh, okay, I got it. What else? It's like, another thing, leave your dip behind. He come out of artillery, and I guess everyone out there dips, because they can't smoke, so he just carries these bottles around, the soda bottles, and he's constantly spitting in them. And he's always got it with him, and the general is a health nut. He hates that stuff. I was like, I'm not to tell you your business, sir, but maybe you want to leave the dip back in your room and just hit it when you get home or something. Oh, and really good. You think it bothers him? I was like, he told you to get that bottle off the desk before. I was there, remember? He doesn't want to see that. And, it never occurred to him. It's not like I'm some genius to point this stuff out, but he's just going on and on. I'm like, take notes. Take a notepad with you. Show that even though, you can't remember everything he tells you, he gives you 10 minutes of orders. You better write this down. He don't want you coming back and forth asking questions. So I just went through all of this stuff with him, and I don't know if the light ever came on. I quit driving for him shortly after that, but I hope he did okay, because I think he was going to get canned, and that doesn't look good on the record. As you know, there are a few of unofficial badges in the Vietnam War. There was an official door gunner tab, or unofficial, excuse me, who was going to tell a door gunner who saw combat Vietnam that he can't wear that. I know, right? I mean, they saw the worst of the worst constantly, and they lived in fear of like the legs and their nether regions getting blown off, if not them dying. Period. You know, just because of the angle they were at and all, and having to lay down suppressing fire all the time. So sometimes you just can't get on to them about made up badges and or honors, right? So yeah, that was some fun times driving. I got in good with my very first drive. I was assigned to colonel, and there was an older colonel who was in charge, kind of our brigade over there, and I was his driver. And like the second or third day, I brought, because I didn't know like how busy I'd be. I was like, okay, I'm sitting out in this vehicle, I'm bringing a book, so I brought Taipan by James Clavell, big long book. And I just happened to have it up front, you know. And he saw it. He got in there and wrote. He says, "You read this book?" I said, "Yeah, I love Taipan." He says, "I guess one of my favorite books of all time." And we got talking about novels and stuff that we'd each read, and he treated me great after that. So I just never understood like being petrified, and it's probably because of where I was assigned. My very first assignment, I was assigned at Corps headquarters. I mean, you don't get any higher than that, right? So I was not intimidated by captains and lieutenants and sergeants. I mean, those guys were like pushing brooms in the building I worked at. So I got kind of a weird, warped, I think, inkling or introduction to the military. So, but it worked for me. It worked very well for me. So. But alas, here we go. I'm no longer there, so. And nor do I miss it much. I kind of always wonder, it's like, you know, if I had stayed in, I'd have like 3 more years and I could have retired and had some decent money coming in. But I wonder what it's been like the last couple of years, you know. I wonder how long I'd have to spend as an E4. I probably just had to reclass at that point. Because I sure wasn't getting promoted anytime soon. And now, I haven't looked in a while, but I think I looked 5 or 6 years back, and the points were nothing. I would have got promoted, you know, the very first board. But it's not a, what's we're looking for? It's not performance, you know. That's the same about a lot of government work. It's not, you're not promoted on performance. So you have criteria to meet, but it's very rarely has anything to do with performance. Thought I was off tonight. I'm never off, my friend. Never. I'm always on. Always. Good to see you, my brother. Good to see you. Glad you can make it in, as always. A pleasure to hear your James Mason voice in my mind. There's a Doors song. Can't see your face in my mind. Speaking of that, where's Darren and Dee this evening? Darren hasn't checked in. Wonder if he'd read that the book I recommended to him. But glad you can make it, sir. Actually, what time is it? I might be getting out of here for too much longer. Let's see, I've been on for 44 and a half minutes, so maybe tried to make it to an hour. My voice feels stronger this week, though. I did notice that. Like last week, I could tell my voice was starting to crumble a bit, including when I was doing classes. I was talking a lot that week, though. But Mr. Roy Kirk, I hope you're having a Jim Dandy Friday night, and hopefully you have no work scheduled for the weekend, other than work that you enjoy. And Crane, I don't remember if I asked, are you doing the what was that, stream, not administering, I always forget what that's called. I didn't know if you were doing the football streams again this year. Darren doesn't come around since Miss Hoffs doesn't come around. You know, she's been popping. Oh, speaking of Miss Hoffs, not so much her, but I'll take my headphones off for a second because I won't be able to reach. I took the liberty, and I was kind of hoping Darren would show up. I wanted to do something for him. see if I can remember it. I learned it in his honor. He'd probably get so excited waiting for me to transform into Miss Hoffs herself, so. Just hanging at home this weekend? I see. Well, maybe you can, maybe B.A. Baracus will come by and you all could share some etouffee. It sounds better in electric than the acoustic, but anyway. You know, he should know. If he's helped me get my channel up to many more thousand subscribers, maybe I could convince them to get on the channel. Maybe they do live stream with me. Dubious at best, but now you come on. Hello, Mr. Darren. Good to see you. We were, believe it or not, just talking about you about 38 seconds ago. I'm not as sexy. Well, I know. I've lost my girlish figure over the years, so. I've always had a face that could stop a truck, though, so. Take that as you will. Oh, hold on. My phones are causing a little interference here. But I am too sexy for my cat. And my hat, perhaps. Did you like my rendition of Hazy Shade of Winter there, Darren? Done in your honor? At least the first bar of it. Went to a 50th birthday party last night. Massive hangover. My friend. It's never worth the hangover. Even for a 50th. When I hit my 50th in a few years, I expect people to only get high on life and perhaps club soda. So it was a good party then. Yeah, it's almost Bourbon Street levels there, Jackson. It sounds. Enjoy that nice weather while you can. You're fixing to hit massive summer heat waves, I'm assuming. It's finally cooling off here somewhat. Not a ton, but it's feeling better. Do you want to get any of those books yet there, Darren? I'm kind of curious what you thought of them. I haven't read the Riders on the Storm in 25 years. Maybe longer than that. Actually, I think it has been longer than that. I've had it in my collection. I have a hard time like letting go of books. Outstanding 32 degrees today. Still 6 weeks until summer. It's going to be a hot one. Yeah. So was that 82 degrees Fahrenheit or something like that? My instant calculator is a little off, so. I'm curious, where is the degrees on your keyboard? How do you get to your degree symbol? Or is it on your phone? I'm not sure where you're doing it. Lieutenant Colonel I drove for is a huge Christian. However, he had real hands-off approach. There was so much drama in his unit, and it didn't affect him, didn't choose to address it. The NCOs and officers always thought I was going to write to my congressman for all the ticky-tack stuff they used to do. Yeah, you can't be too hands-off sometimes, man. They'll just run roughshod all over you. Or the lower rank leadership will. One of the two, so. Most of mine were pretty hands-off, that I recall, though. I mean, they never did any edicts. They would pass it down, but I hated driving for Lieutenant Colonel. They assigned me to that because when I was reassigned after my aviation unit stuff I was exposed to, I drank a lot. I didn't care if I get kicked out of the service. I guess there were a few NCOs who thought I was a good soldier, just need to be left alone. Maybe. And sometimes that's the best place for a soldier, if you're, you know, I'm a person who's very happy being alone, so it worked well for me. Another bad thing is, like, if you actually are supposed to be doing a job at your unit, your MOS, it can really cut into your experience. And for me, it wasn't an issue because I never did my job in the military, but that would take away from your time of actually getting time in. I used my phone, the !1 symbol, huh? Let's see if I have it on mine. Maybe press twice. Oh, yeah. Let me see. I'm gonna check that out. I don't know if you have an Apple or Android. I have an Android, but let me see if that does it. There it is, degree. Yeah, okay. I was wondering if there was one on the regular keyboard, because I've actually wanted to use that before and never been able to. And it's moderator, wasn't it? That's what the word I was groping for earlier. Thank you, Darren, for schooling me. I had no idea that was there. Let's see. I like learning things, and learning is fun. Yes, I still do the NFL streams this year. I'm behind in the chat and streams. Okay. Had to use the restroom, so I paused your vid. Oh, no. Now you'll be catching up. Android, yeah, okay. We're both on Android, so that explains it. So, yeah, go find your number key, and then once you're in, it's in the second menu. So, cool. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. You are the viewer of the week for that little bit of information. Much appreciated, sir. And hopefully Dee appreciates your wealth of knowledge as well. And hopefully she's doing well as well. Please make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and of course that poor bell button. Although if you only push one of them, the others would demand equal treatment. I know, right? It's very, it's such a non-democratic solution here, right? I'm distributing the love to every one of the buttons, so would appreciate that, sir. And Grand, your thing will come to you here. I'm not sure when. I have sometime in the next week, so stay tuned for that. $3. Genome presents. Oh, Master Lord of all evil things, come forth. Your servant awaits. Happy Halloween month. Boy, I go on diatribes against Halloween too, but that'd be for another stream. People do not like when I do that, so. Yeah, people seem very surprised when they find out I don't want anything to do with Halloween, but they shouldn't be, because I make no bones about my faith, I will be in and out. Dee is going on a wine tour. She can't be late. I need to make sure she is on time. Her OCD slows her down. Keeps me from going out the door a lot. I will be out the door. I'll be halfway down my block, and I was like, did we shut the stove off last night? Did we shut this? I know I've checked it 3 or 4 times, like, since last night, but I gotta stop. I gotta go back, and I gotta check, Just the things, it's hard for me to get out of the house sometimes, because I just want to go back and recheck everything. It's so annoying. But the house has never burned down, so maybe it's wise. I don't know. Yeah, they would run all over the LTC, not in front of his face, but behind his back. Oh, yeah. Like, out of sight, out of mind. Unless someone complains directly to the lieutenant colonel, which almost no one ever does, or to the colonel, they're never going to know. And it's not like they could do spot checks anywhere. They're never seen, except for in their office. So, she's a hand washer. Oh, yeah. It can wear down your skin and cause cuticle breaks, all that washing of hands. I'm a pretty good hand washer and sanitizer. Speaking of the Army made me a sanitizer user. And I never really used this stuff until I joined Basic. And they made us carry a bottle of it around in our one of our pockets, because of all the sickness that goes around Basic. We used to use it as a little pick-me-up. Like, when we were sitting there, like, sitting through briefings and we're all nodding off, we put a bunch in our hands and, like, and kind of huff it, and it gives you a couple of seconds to charge, We can't escape nostalgia and all that heartwarming feeling that youth gave to us all. I'm so glad to have the opportunity of being able to watch so many series and movies of my past. Isn't it great? We live in quite side of all the bads and ills of what a connected world does. That's one of the goods, right? They bring so many feelings and memories back to my heart. My best regards. Hope to be still here in years to come. Me too. Me too. I like my Law and Order series there. Used to be you had to tune in at certain times on your TV to see this stuff, even reruns, you know. So, what a world! What a world! And I think to myself, when she is out socializing, she doesn't notice it. Only at home. The hand washing thing. I'm so bad. Like, not bad. I'm not a germaphobe by any means. But like if I'm in a public bathroom, I always use the paper towel to open the door when I'm done. Because why go through all the trouble of washing your hands after you use the bathroom just to touch that door? Who is just crawling with other bacteria, right? So people look at you funny when you do that, but that's what I do. Genome presents the proper use of Klingon's Batleth and the Andorian Ushantor. I don't know what they are, but I mean I know what a Batleth is, of course. I can't remember what the Ushantor is. I have to ask Fran. More Jeffrey Combs goodness, right? That's why I like her to socialize more. Hopefully it helps. Well, sometimes it's hard to convince the better halves to socialize, you know? They're like guys. They don't seem to socialize that well. Well, I got like 3 of the same kind of pick here. In case you missed it earlier, there you go. That's for you, Darren, by the way. Even though Susan didn't play the lick, we'll pretend that she did for you. Might be out of tune here. Dave, I was going to send you a copy of the book I mentioned to you about the Wingmans. However, I know you were super busy, so I don't know if the audio version would even fit in your schedule. I'm not much of an audiobook guy. I would try to almost definitely pick up a hardback copy. But I could sometimes make things fit into my schedule, you know. When I used to drive a lot, I would listen to audiobooks, but now when I do drive a lot, I got a partner with me, so I don't want to subject him to something. Oop. And busy is a relative term. It's not always busy, but it's been really busy lately. If we do it like a folk style, you know? Oop. Get that the vibrato is a little bit difficult on that last one. At least on a acoustic. There it is. Are you going to be at the levee tomorrow? Possibly. I would like to get some footage for you guys. Oop. Good to see you, Steven. Steven being the drummer for Relative Obscurity. Man, I'm off somewhere. I'm bring the Amber Vistalite Bonham set. Ah, there you go. That man has more drum kits than anyone else in the tri-state area, I'd say. But yeah, I hope to see you there. I want to get there and get some footage. I forget what time is. What time is your first show at 4? I can't remember. I'll have to ask James if you don't have the top of your. I guess I could go look at the advertisements. It's all over Facebook. I'd try maybe get some drone footage too while I'm out there. I need my my roadie badge though. They're not gonna let me like behind the scenes and all that without my badge. Come on, give me a RO badge. 4 and 8. I don't know if I'm gonna be there for the 8 o'clock show. Maybe. I doubt it. Because the 4 o'clock's the acoustic, right? And then 8's your live show or your regular electric show. Dave, what'd you think about my Aftermath story? I remember I read part of it. I haven't read all your comments. I remember when you sent it, I was in the middle of like some meetings or something like that, so I never actually got back to it. I'll look at it in the next few days, though. Of that, rest assured. You'll give me one? All right. I demand it. That's the least you guys could do, right? As your audiovisual guy. I feel kind of unloved. I've worked on 2 videos tonight, actually, for you guys. Or this afternoon. James had some last-minute requests, so I went ahead and got them recorded and edited and sent over to him so he could add them. Should be a fun show. The Wingman, 1987 by Mac Maloney. I think it's only available in paperback. Yeah, some of those are pretty hard limited editions to get a hold of. Like, trying to get like the John D. McDonald books is almost impossible. They're so expensive. And same with the like some of the Raymond Chandler books, thing like that. They're out of print. And they're so bloody expensive. Kurt Vonnegut is even like that, and he had some re-releases. I think back in the 90s, and those weren't too bad. But once again, those are getting rare too. So a press pass. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. Otherwise known as groupie candy. Fun until I mess it up. How can you mess it up? People can't tell when you miss a beat. They're just happy to be hearing anything. But should be fun. I'm glad y'all get to do another big show. This is the biggest show you've done with them, isn't it? Well, no. The Asylum might have been... I don't know if we don't have as many people there. But... you get to do some fun stuff with them, though. And we'll get to see Dion in the dunk tank. So... I'm hoping to get some footage of that the first time he goes down. That needs to go up on the RO website. I need to do another pastiche video for you, too. In the opinion of this Army veteran, it's all that damn gangster rap and these video games that are desensitizing today's youth into violence. And that in Dungeons and Dragons. The biggest stage you've been on? Alright. Just autopilot up there. Remember, imagine everybody buck naked. Forget that underwear crap. Naked's easier. They're all vulnerable then. I don't think it'd be a problem for you. You always zone in, so. It's the same songs y'all played dozens of times before, so. Ain't gonna be nothing to it. At least it'll have cooled off by the time you go on the 8 o'clock one, right? Might be a little warm still at the 4 o'clock one. Oh, I'm over my hour. Look at that. I'll probably stream for like 5 more minutes and then call it a night, get back to Law and Order or something like that. So I didn't get my earlier 5 minute warning, so time got away from me. People started coming in. Channel's trying to grow. It's doing it very slowly. Oh, I now have 1,000.15k subscribers. I just watch other channels. Boom, man. And I was like, I can't figure out the algorithm. Some new ones that we just started. Yeah, I remember James mentioned a few. It's all the same thing. Just default to 4.4. You'll be fine. Start playing lighter. Got to go load up everything. Yeah, that's going to be the fun part. Are you going to use the same kit for the acoustic and the electric show? Dave's going to tap this week for you. Got work to do Monday through Wednesday. Let's see, music lesson Friday. I think we have a meeting with another school next Thursday. And several other things we have to do virtually. So, yeah, next week's going to be busy. It's going to be real busy. Good problems, though. There's no figuring why channels grow the way they do. I've given up. I have no idea what the public wants. I know it doesn't really care for my product that much. So I quit trying to give them what they want, which I don't know what that is anyway. So, you want logistics, join the army. That's what my recruiter told me. Okay, so same kit. No problem. No problem. Practice Wednesday. Oh, you got practice next Wednesday. Well, hopefully not too early because, well, we're only working over in Point Pleasant, so not that far. So you should be able to work normal or do practice at normal hours. You should come to us for one of our classes one time. It's something. Corralling those kids. That's for sure. I should get my wife up there. She can meet Chrissy. I don't know if Becca's going to be there. And of course Amanda, so. But she's not really the public type, so. Let them bang on some drums. Yeah, that would probably, I don't know, channel some of their energy at the very least. We'll get them some pads, though. They can hit it on the pads. I think actually we'll be doing our training out of a library next week, out of the school library, so. Shh. It beats the last one. Last one had that super loud air intake in there. Man, it's just like a jet turbine, so I had to yell for the entire 3 days, and that's another reason my voice was going so bad. Yeah, but we can both bring guitars in, whatever, and we can have them teach them some songs. You missed a few chats. I did? Or do you mean that for another stream? Usually I'm pretty good about getting them. Other than how to speak Arabic. Or Farsi, if you prefer. But yeah, so it should be a busy week. But like I said, I like staying busy, so I don't do too well with downtime. You see what happens when I go have downtime. I start building arcade in my basement and things. I did get a new machine. I probably can't see it too well from here. Over next to T2, I got Pac-Mania machine added. And a bunch of other decorative items over there. I never got into Law and Order. It's okay. I was more of an NYPD Blue guy. Yeah, I like the procedural stuff. I don't know what that's. I'm just funny like that. But only like certain groups of them. What am I doing here? There we go. Like certain actors and stuff I really liked, but the newer stuff I didn't care for. But it's not what I got the set for. I think I've only seen NYPD Blue like 1 or 2 times. I was the one guy that wasn't watching it. I'll see you tomorrow too, Steve. Take care. I'm actually kind of out the door myself. I better rest up. I forgot I got a photo shoot to go to. There's no rest for me, man. It's always something. Relative obscurity is very needy. Very needy. So don't forget that press pass. Because I'm needy too. But yeah, I think that's probably a good time for me to go ahead and get on down the road. That's up to you at church. The Church of Day, Gina presents calling all heathens, calling all heathens. Repent, repent, get thee behind me, Satan. Yeah, that's where he needs to stay until he becomes God's footstool. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get on down the road. Enjoy a little bit of my free weekend here. I got work to do tomorrow. Thanks a lot for depressing me, Steve, but I'm glad you reminded me. James had told me he'd probably remind me tomorrow, but... So yes, I'll be doing video work tomorrow. Yay. Ah, well. It's a good problem I have, I suppose. But anyway, I hope everyone has a Jim Dandy weekend. I hope they have a productive one and a restful one. You can do both. They're not mutually exclusive. And I hope everyone has a little bit of joy in their hearts this week. And I hope that all who are lost will come to see the power and the refuge of our Lord Jesus Christ. And yeah, so stay tuned for next week's show. I have no idea what it's going to be about, as I almost never do when I log on. But anyway, I hope everyone has a great week, a safe one. And we will see you guys next week, same time, same bat channel. So until then, this is Gene.